Hello fellow gamers, I'm Christopher Chrisman of Retro Game Network, and coming up next, a look at last week's retro video game news on the RGN files for the week ending Saturday, June 9th, 2018. In the RGN files this week, a company called Playmoji has announced development of a brand new retro video game multi-console called the Polymega. The base unit will come equipped with an optical disc drive that is compatible with the Sony PlayStation 1, Sega CD, TurboGrafx CD, and Neo Geo CD right out of the box. In addition, a variety of interchangeable element modules are also in the works that will add cartridge-based consoles to the system. Modules planned at the launch include compatibility with the NES, Super NES, Sega Genesis, Sega 32X, and TurboGrafx 16. Playmoji states that the system uses a concept of 50% emulation and 50% hardware and has developed its own operating system for the device. Each module will come with a wired controller in the style of the system it respects. The system will also be compatible with original peripherals and will also offer broadcasting capabilities. While not compatible with ROM images directly, the Polymega will be compatible with flash drive cartridges. Future updates are also planned to include compatibility with the Sega Dreamcast, Saturn, and the Nintendo Famicom. There is currently no word on an official price or release date at this time. It's happened to almost anybody that shops online. You place your order, wait patiently for your items to arrive, only to have the products arrive damaged in transit. A gamer from Germany named Simon Augustine recently had that experience when his Vectrex video game console not only arrived in pieces, but it came complete with a damaged CRT. Instead of taking it as a loss, he decided to repair the system himself, replacing the display and outer shell of the Vectrex with an IBM 5151 monochrome monitor. The PC monitor had issues of its own, in which Augustine also repaired in the process. Making sure that all of the components fit was one issue in the project, as well as creating openings for the cartridge slot and volume control. He also had some fun with the controller, changing out the original controls with a custom one made out of a peppermint box mimicking the look of an NES controller. The final product resulted in a fully functional Vectrex video game console encased inside of an IBM PC monitor, complete with a brand new green phosphor display. Augustine has documented the entire process of the modification in complete detail on his personal blog. The Walt Disney Company has officially released the full-length trailer to its upcoming sequel to the 2012 animated film Wreck-It Ralph. The new movie, officially entitled Ralph Breaks the Internet, Wreck-It Ralph 2, takes place 6 years after the original film. The storyline this time around centers on Ralph's adventures on the internet when a Wi-Fi router gets plugged into the arcade as he finds a replacement part to fix Sugar Rush. In this new adventure, Ralph and Vanellope encounter brand new customs, worlds, and characters, such as a trendy new algorithm, as well as the complete Disney Princess lineup. Returning to the film include the voice characterizations by John C. Reilly, Sarah Silverman, and Jane Lynch, all reviving their respected roles. The trailer comes in at a total running time of over 4 minutes long, advertising the film as Disney's 57th full-length animated feature. Ralph Breaks the Internet, Wreck-It Ralph 2 is scheduled to be released in theaters nationwide this Thanksgiving on November 21st, and should be available for viewing in all areas in 2D, 3D, as well as IMAX. The film has not yet been rated by the Motion Picture Association of America. A new ROM hack of the Atari 2600 homebrew title Avalanche is currently being created as a port of the Commodore VIC-20 title The Sky is Falling. Avalanche, a homebrew title which was created by John Champow, was actually an unofficial port of the Atari arcade title of the same name, and is similar in gameplay and style of the Activision game Kaboom. A similar title called The Sky is Falling was originally released for the Commodore VIC-20 back in 1981, which was based on the classic story of Henny Penny. A gamer and programmer named Scott Dayton has been working on hacking the original ROM of the Avalanche homebrew, and is converting the gameplay to be more similar to the Commodore title. Dayton has recently uploaded a video to his personal YouTube channel that demonstrates the game being played. There is currently not a lot of information available in regards to how much of the game has been finished, and there is also no word on what distribution method would be used upon completion. This is a story that is still very much in the early stages, and we will keep everybody updated on the game's development. When home versions of Street Fighter II were originally released, they received many computer ports throughout the European Union. Because these ports were mostly on 8-bit computer systems, many of them were criticized for lacking specific features alongside of their lackluster video and audio. A gentleman from Spain named Paco Herrera is making the attempt to bring a better version of the game to the Commodore 64 platform that would be more accurate to the original and more appreciated for the system. Herrera, who has been working on the clone for over the past 3 years, took the challenge as a way of learning coding for the C64 assembly language. He stated that he chose this particular project because, quote, the official version released by US Gold in 1992 is appalling in almost every aspect, end quote. A demonstration that is very early in development was showcased at the Explorer Commodore Computer Convention in Barcelona last month that would allow gamers to try the early revision of the conversion, which allows unlimited combats between Ryu and Ken. No estimated completion date or distribution methods for this new Commodore port of Street Fighter II is currently known at this time. Coming up next on the RGN Files, the very first edition of our brand new news commentary, Wimho, well, in my humble opinion. Starting with this week's podcast, we at Retro Game Network are launching a new opinion commentary feature called Wimho, well, in my humble opinion. Each week, we're going to be taking one news story of the week and give our personal opinions about the article. In regards to the story about Simon Augustine and his destroyed Vectrex, I can tell you right now that it is every retro video game collector's biggest fear. But instead of talking about this amazing feat, I actually want to talk to everybody about the accomplishment itself. If you're a console purist like I am, you want to play your retro video game collection using original consoles on CRT televisions. However, being a purist has one inevitable problem. One day you're going to play your favorite console only to discover that the aging technology is beginning to malfunction. When this happens, you have a couple of options. One is to go online and to buy a replacement system, which can be risky, as anything can happen to the device during the shipping process. And if the system is older and considered rare, it could also be rather expensive. The other option in the event of a console malfunction is to actually learn how to repair the legacy technology yourself. Educating yourself on how to do basic electronics repair is critical for anyone that wants to get involved in collecting retro video game consoles. Discovering how these technical marvels work from the inside out and learning simple repair techniques such as how to operate a soldering iron, how an optical drive works, and how to replace batteries that are soldered onto the motherboards on older systems will ultimately save you a lot of eventual heartache. If you have a system that you're particularly a fan of, browse the internet and try to obtain a copy of the service manuals which were sent to repair centers during its original lifespan. Many of these manuals have been scanned and preserved online, and you may even be able to grab a hard copy on internet auction sites. And if you're still in need of more help, turn to the thousands of social media network groups that are dedicated to your favorite console. You will always find plenty of friendly people willing to offer assistance and their expertise. While you may never need to rebuild a Vectrex using an IBM PC monitor like our friend from Germany, you may just save yourself a couple of bucks or a couple of $100 by repairing something as simple as a dislodged IC. In conclusion, if you collect retro video game consoles, learn how to take care of it internally so that you can enjoy them for decades to come. And that is my humble opinion. And finally, this week, we at Retro Game Network wanted to inform our readers that our very first official Twitch stream will be taking place this Tuesday evening, starting at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. The game that we are going to be showcasing is still to be determined, and interested viewers should follow us on Twitch to learn more about our newest endeavor. We plan to stream every Tuesday evening at that time, and hope to expand to 2 streams per week beginning sometime next month. For additional information, visit twitch.tv/RetroGameNet. We also wanted to apologize for the delay in our summer season premiere of our official radio program, VGM on FM, which was supposed to occur last week. We were unable to perform the program due to technical difficulties. The first episode of the summer season will air this Monday, June 11th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. The program can be heard on WRML 107.9 FM in Atlantic County, New Jersey, and can also be heard online at WRMLradio.org or via the TuneIn Radio app for your mobile device. We certainly hope that you can tune in and join us for the fun. That's it for this week's edition of the RGN Files. For those listening on VGM on FM, please stay tuned. There'll be more music coming up shortly. For those listening on Retro Game Network, we thank you for listening and hope you'll tune in again next time. For complete details of any of this week's stories, visit RetroGameNetwork.com. And don't forget to check us out on social media outlets, on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Retro Game Network, and on Twitter and Twitch at RetroGameNet. For the RGN Files, I'm Christopher Chrisman. This week's news stories provided by the following: The Guardian, Hack-A-Day, Retromaniac, Scott Dayton, Sega Nerds, Vintage is the New Old. The opinions expressed during our Wimho commentary segment are not necessarily those of all persons associated with Retro Game Network or any of its affiliates, past, present, or future.